extra special guest. You know what I mean? Got my brothers in the building with me. Got my guy Deontay. You know what I mean? Got my guy Randolph Love. You know what I mean? That's Randolph Love. No Diddy. No Diddy. Peoples, you know what I'm saying? No Diddy. People, you dig?
Got some new things, and nobody didn't believe me when I said crypto NFT Web3 was our new wave. Look at me now, look at me now.
Hey man, welcome to On the Blockchain Podcast, where we're not selling nothing, we're selling itself.
You know I got it in my bag, got it in my bag. Blockchain.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Right back at you. Blockchain Podcast, extra special guest. You know what I mean? Got my brothers in the building with me. Got my guy Deontay. You know what I mean? Got my guy Randolph Love. You know what I mean? That's Randolph Love. No Diddy. No Diddy. Peoples, you know what I'm saying? No Diddy. People, you dig? It's that real love over here that Mary J was talking about. You dig? It's that real love. You dig? Mm-hmm. Word, man. My guy Deontay, man, franchise consultant. You know what I mean? The guy that's connecting the community to long-term wealth, which is what we all need to be talking about, guys and girls. Long-term wealth for our culture, our people, our communities. You know what I'm saying? And anybody from any city, any ghetto, any inner city, marginalized communities. This is what we got. We representing you guys. You know what I mean? My guy Randolph Love, man. Listen, man. Strategist, Miracle Money Vehicle, funded the Index Universal Life Specialist. Like, man, I could go on and on, man. Welcome, brothers. Thank you for being on the platform, man. Glad to be here with y'all, man.
Appreciate you bringing me on, man. Thank you. And I appreciate Deontay for doing what he does and connecting us.
Yes, sir, man. Connecting them dots, bridging them gaps.
I appreciate y'all for just being y'all, man. It's a pleasure and my honor.
Yes, sir, man. I want to get right out the gate, man. I just want to get into it, man. What's the importance and the value of the mindset, man, of our mindset and our mentality?
Well, definitely, whatever the mind can believe, it can achieve. And it sounds corny, right? It sounds like it can't be true, but it is true. Before we started on this podcast, we were talking about the double slit experiment, where they shot one particle at a time at two slits, and then when they looked at it, the whole wall was covered when it should have just been two slits. But so what they did was they tried to capture to see exactly what these particles was doing. And then as soon as they tried to capture it and record it, that's when it did what they thought it would do. And what they just concluded was whatever your mind think is going to happen, it will happen. Bad luck is contagious, right? And you never seen one healthy apple turn a whole bunch of rotten apples into a bunch of you've seen a rotten apple turn a bunch of apples into it. So if you have that negative mindset, not only is it contagious, but it can hurt you. But the same goes the other way around. If you have that positive mindset, whatever you believe gonna happen, it will happen. Definitely.
That's right. Manifestation is real, people.
Oh yeah. And even the people who say it's not true, okay, money is just a representation of the perfect person you've become, especially if you built that from the ground up. But money isn't that important. But when you talk to the people who are very wealthy, they'll all tell you this came from the mind first. Everything that you see, the jacket you have on, Gully, the headphones you have on, Deontay, this entire building behind me, it started as a thought first. Mm-hmm. And then they brought it into this tangible world. Who says we can't do the same thing with whatever we're trying to do?
That's right. So what y'all brothers think about, young, I mean, let's go talk about young brothers right now, young brothers and sisters from the inner cities that, dealing with emotional distress, pressure, frustration, depression, you know what I mean? Like, what can we as a people do to, catapult them, or at least allow them to be able to get them some shoulders to stand on?
Shout out to, real quick, I got to plug them. shout out to developing options. And I feel like the best thing for us to do is to develop some options for the youth.
Come on,
they have
now.
no options. They've taken away all of our options as far as when our elders grew up. They had the programs in the parks. They had the shop classes. They had different trades that they can go learn for free. We need to bring back our options and then change the mindset of how we think and plan for our youth.
Right.
And not only how we think and plan for our youth, but also involving our youth to see what they believe in or what they want to do or what their passion is, so that we're catering to what they want to do versus forcing them to be in an industry that they do not want to be in or that they're forced to be in. It never works out that way. And I feel like every aspect of our lives growing up in every community, we have a lack of options.
Facts. Yeah.
So I feel like if we develop some options, in which this is the reason why I brought Mr. Love to the table. And this is the reason why I always bring Gully to the table. You guys are presenting different options for kids, not only the youth, but for the adults too. And if we could just keep creating those and developing those options, man, I feel like our future is great.
Oh, yeah. And I agree with that. And I believe in addition to that, we need to rethink what we consider innocence and what's the importance of innocence. Because I have a lot of friends of mine, because, you know, I don't have any kids yet, you know, none that I know of at least, right? But I don't have any kids yet. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt, right? But the way I see it, when I talk to my friends about, you know, their methods of raising their children and everything, from what I understand, everybody's trying to protect their innocence, right? And then so I said, okay, well, how long is it allowed for you to protect their innocence? How long do you believe they are considered innocent? And usually people say up to about 12, 13 years old, right? But guess what just happened? While you were protecting their innocence, not having the necessary conversations, not telling the hard truths, they were getting uploaded all that other stuff, right? The stuff that if they would have learned from you when they were a sponge, they would be doing this stuff second nature. A lot of the stuff that we didn't figure out was true until we hit our 20s, and then the next till we hit our 30s, and then till we hit our 40s. Because here's the thing: the more you know, the more you know, the more you don't know. So we always are gonna be figuring out, dang, I thought this. Why not upload this into them at 3, at 4? Because what ends up happening is if you do it then, it'll become second nature to them, instead of them trying to learn how to walk again once they realize the stuff they were told was just rose-colored glasses. So in my opinion, how we can help the youth is start treating them like adults and uploading the right, true information earlier, instead of saying, nah, I want them to stay innocent. All right, think back to when you was a kid and your parents still thought you was innocent. What were you doing at 7? What were you doing at 8? Oh, but your kids are different. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna say nothing.
They angels. They angels.
That part. The crazy thing about that is, let me add to that. Our children are sponges from the age of 0 to 5. They learn hot and cold between the ages of 0 to 5. If we do not get a hold of our youth's mindsets before they are 5, it is a wrap. That's what I believe. That's what I know to be true. That's what I see on the daily. Again, dealing with my family nonprofit development options, my older brother Lamarck, we see he sees on the daily. Gully, the first question you asked was, you know, about the different options for the mentality or the depression that the young. There's so much other things going on within layers of our community that we have no idea about. That is ridiculous.
And we're not dealing with it.
Exactly. Nobody's touching on it. Nobody's bringing it to the forefront. Half the kids in the Crenshaw district are foster care. Nobody knows that. Like, at what point in time do we sit down any of these kids and ask them how do they feel about not having their parents around, or why it makes them act out in certain ways? And I truly believe it's a fact that it's easier to train a child than it is to retrain an adult, right?
Facts. Yeah.
And so for the adults, I'm leading by example. For the kids, I'm training with every bit of intent possible. I got 3 boys, and my main focus is to get as much knowledge in them during this time as possible.
Right.
I want you to know everything about money. I want you to know everything about, and I want you to grow with it versus waiting until you're 15 and you're just now learning about paying bills. Like, no, you're going to know about paying bills and credit right now because we can be building your credit. And as I came in contact with Mr. Love, there's a few different things in dealing with the fiat world that we can be creating to bring us that long-term wealth that we're all so close to it and need, you know?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, man. I agree with that. It's a book called Psychopictography by Vernon Howard. One of the quotes that I love out of that book, he says, the best thing that you can do for somebody is be somebody. And that goes with what Deontay was saying. Listen, nobody likes unsolicited advice, right? And by the time they become an adult, you can tell them the most important thing that you can ever tell them in life, and it's just going to roll off their back, go over their head. But if you do your own advice, then not only will it help the kids because they'll be uploading you because they'll be learning from not what you say, but what you do. But then the people around you will start picking up on it and realize, dang, this person don't never give me no advice, but they got stuff going on. Let me ask them. And then it changes the whole dynamic.
Right. Yeah, leading by example, man. That's one thing that we got to do as a community, you know what I'm saying, as brothers, you know what I mean, and our sisters, of course, you know what I mean, we got to lead by example because, you know, it's too much talkers out there, you know, not enough doers, you know what I mean, like, so actions speak louder, you know what I mean, and I think we got to show the youth that, you know what I mean, as well, you know what I mean, but yo, like you said, Deontay, man, shout out to Big Youth, developing options out there for the youth, you know what I mean, and for adults, and bringing different opportunities to the community, you know what I mean, and that's the key because if everybody took initiatives like Unc did, you know what I mean, within their own communities, you know what I'm saying, we have like a crazy ecosystem right now that's able to thrive, you know what I'm saying, we have our youth that's able to thrive and then also network with each other in different states and cities, wherever they might be, whatever regions they might be, you know what I mean, whether they're into sports, whether they're into fashion, film, music, whatever it is, art, you know what I'm saying, like Web3, crypto, whatever it might be, you know what I'm saying, because that's the thing, man, we gotta, and changing the mentality, we gotta also inject this technology wave into them, you know what I mean? Like start them coding at early ages. You dig what I'm saying? Like, cause AI going to take over jobs. So it's like by the time they get of age, right? Like, you know, we really don't know what it's going to be yet. You dig? You know what I mean? And so it's like if AI going to take over our jobs and our family and our parents' jobs, like then we should be teaching the youth to be able to work with the AI, you know what I mean, to control it, you know what I mean, to be able to, so that you have some type of say-so and you know what I mean, in the narrative, you know what I mean, otherwise, you know what I mean, you're just going to be doing what you're told.
Oh yeah.
100%.
I agree. I know this school in Florida, Minds of the Future Academy in Jacksonville, they're one of the only, and I'm pretty sure maybe a couple more in the United States, but the only one that I know of it's a STEM daycare. It's a STEM daycare to where these kids are learning to code at 2 years old. But guess how they teaching them to code? They teaching them in a game. And what it is the kids, they playing the game, not realizing they learning the code, like that Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off thing. And then next thing you know, they say, hey, all right, so code here. And they gonna say, I don't know how to code. Well, remember when you did this in that game? All right, do that here. Boom, all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, yeah.
Oh, and this is easy.
Yeah, man, yeah. And that's really the breakdown of Web3, honestly, bro. It's like, you know, people, they letting like the perception like mainstream media or whatever it might be, or the, you know, the little scandals and stuff that been going on, because there's a lot of scammy stuff out here everywhere in the world, but they've been letting that deter them from just learning about this Web3 and this technology, you know what I'm saying? Because once you start just getting into it and doing it and you look back, you're like, oh shit, oh, I know how to do this now, I know what this is, you know what I mean? So it's like, jump into it, you know what I mean? 2 feet in, you know what I mean? Get involved, be active, engage, network, you know what I mean? And you don't never know how it's going to pay off for you in the long run.
Oh yeah. All you got to do is, because a lot of times you got to connect the dots, right? Like sticky metaphors, right? To me, I think the best way for people to understand the value of Web3 is to remind them what Web 1 was. Like when you had to dial in America online, and it was just a one-way street. But then that Web 2 came in and it's communicating. So they like, nah, Web 2 is here to stay. Well, was Web 1 here to stay? And think of somebody that was using Web 1. Where are they now? Right? That's the equivalent of saying hey to somebody and they responded groovy. Or it's like an old played out term, right? So Web 3 is coming, just like Gully said. And if you are the person who's trying to keep your kids off the computer so that they can have that same experience that you had, it's not the same. People are digging, and it's funny how everything, if you really want to do it, teach your child how all truths are parallel. Where you got the miners, the same people that mine gold in real life are mining, all of these, what do you call them? These points, these coins. Like I say, don't make me sound stupid on
tokens.
These tokens. Like everything that happens in the real world is happening inside of Web 3. And once you figure out, all right, during the gold rush, the people who made the most money weren't the people who were digging the gold. It was the people who were selling the shovels. How can you sell shovels in Web 3?
Hello, come on, man. Some gems here, some nugs for y'all guys and girls.
Deep.
Listening and hearing. Come on, man.
Timestamp that.
You know what I mean? That right there. Come on, man.
Timestamp that.
Because, you know what I mean? We building, but we learning. You know what I mean? Iron sharpen iron, guys and girls. Iron sharpen iron. Feel me? So that's what we doing over here. You know what I mean? And keeping you guys and girls, you know what I mean, on deck so that, you could join the party. You know what I mean? Come have some fun. Come learn. Come educate yourself. But quick question, Randolph. Like, what's your take on like difference between fiat currency and cryptocurrency?
Well, what I like about all forms of money, currency, fiat, crypto, is all it takes is the right people to believe in it. Right? It's all teetering on reality and imagination, all of it, right? So here's the thing. If you want to look back historically, as soon as a civilization switches to fiat, sooner or later that civilization is about to go. And what I mean by that is once they stop having something to measure the value of it against, for example, when the United States left the gold standard, and it just started printing money. Now you got to look at it. All right, they're just printing money, and because they printing money, it's causing inflation. What's inflation? Inflation is what the cost of the things you need that it's seeing. So what that means is it don't matter if they just gave you a extra $3 minimum wage raise. They just raised the cost of everything else by 6.
By 6,
you think you winning, but you losing. So to answer your question, my take on fiat and crypto is they can work together. Align yourself with something that's tangible. Because like I told Gully, when it comes to crypto, I'm not that smart. But when I look at, all right, where is the infrastructure? Where is a lot of these coins and these cryptocurrencies being built on top of? And to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gully, it seems like it's built on top of Ethereum. That's what it seems like, right? So that seems like that's the interstate. The street is valuable, right? So once I saw, okay, so it looks like Ethereum is the street. Okay, cars ride on the street, that they making money. Trucks ride on the street. So I need to figure out how to invest in the street. Just like selling shovels during the gold rush, how do I invest in the street? So, I'm learning, as much as I can from listening to Gully and watching your podcast. But what I do is I show people how they can use fiat currency. Like I don't care what you think about fiat currency. The moral of the story is it's doing what it's doing and you need it to succeed. So what we do is we try to find ways to tie this fiat currency, this overinflated things. We want to tie it to things that inflate, but we also want to make sure that we don't also experience the same volatility of what most people do. right? Because think about this, and a lot of people don't think about this. So just imagine you had $100,000, right? And if you have $100,000 and the stock market drops 50%, what's 50% of 100,000? $50,000. So you just lost $50,000. All right. So let's say the next year the stock market goes up 50%. What a traditional financial advisor would tell you is you just broke even. Actually, no. Because what's 50% of 50,000? That's 25,000. So what's happening is when your money drops a percentage, you need at least double to break even. And when you look at how the market is working, I'm not talking about crypto. When you look at how the traditional stock market is working, these indexes is working, it drops about 30 to 40% every 3 to 4 years. And then over the next 4 years, even if it's positive, it didn't hit 80. It's just like somebody going to the casino. How many people know people that go to the casino all the time? They're going to tell you exactly when they hit, but they ain't going to tell you all the times they lost. So when you got somebody with their money directly in the market the wrong way, and it just and they just hit for 30% that year, they're going to tell everybody. But they're not going to tell you that they lost 40% last year and that they needed at least 80% to break even. And even though they hit 30% this year, they got another 2 years before they even get close to breaking even. And then when they get close, boom, it drops again. And we're going to get into it, but I found a way, and I didn't find it, and I didn't create it, but I found a way that these wealthy families and businesses are getting all of the gains, experiencing none of the losses, and it's tax-free.
That's lit, man. That's beautiful because, people need to know. Man, you know what? We got to start learning the history of money, man. You know what I mean? Like, especially as black men, black women, our culture, like, we always told to chase the bag, get the money, you know what I mean? But, like, what is the history of money? You know what I mean? Because money is like water. It's about flow. You know what I mean? It's about flow. And like, when we only chasing the bag, that's not the flow. You dig? Because the water going out the faucet and nothing coming back in. You dig? So it's like, we gotta get ourselves to a point where it's like, financial education is a cool thing. You know what I mean? Financial freedom is a cool thing. You know what I mean? Generational wealth is being talked about in the family, in the household. You know what I mean? So that we can stop looking at money as like just a tangible object that we chase, rather than something that could lead to generations being great, you know what I'm saying, within your family, within everybody's family, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm going to take it back because I like what you said earlier before you really started chopping up. You was like, it's not this or that, it's this and that. You know what I mean? So it's not like fiat and crypto. Like, and it's another thing too, like me and Money Man was just chopping it up about, it's like AI, Web3, these Web3 tools, they not to be like, they're not to replace what you're already doing. They to amplify what you're already doing. They to give you a bigger voice, make it more efficient, streamline what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? To be able to maximize what you're doing. And it's an add-on, you know what I mean? So yeah, this and that is what it is, bro. Because it's not, people think like they got to choose, like, oh shit, like I got to go straight crypto now. Like, nah, bro, like you just got to learn what you need to learn so that you can move forward properly. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. And I like what you use. Money is like water. The words are not an accident. Yeah, we were born and we learned English. And when we also attached ourselves to a religion, we also attached ourselves to a style. But the first thing you need to admit is none of this is your original idea. Somebody else came up with the language. Somebody else came up with the religion. Somebody else came up with the style. Hey, it is what it is. But once you realize that words are important, whoever came up with this English language and attached it to these different things, they did it for a reason. Money is called currency for a reason. What else has the base word of current? Water. You have to create your own current. What would you ever drink stale water? Absolutely not. You're going to go sick. So if you can find a way to create your own current, which I've definitely found, I do it. And back to what you were saying, the this and that versus this or that. A lot of my clients are attorneys. And if you know attorneys, you know how powerful it is, the distinction between and or.
Oh yeah.
You could, if you're reading down the list of requirements that you have to do, number one, you have to do this. Number two, you have to do this. Number three, you have to do this. And number four, you have to do this. And then right before they get to that last point, if they say and, then that means you have to do that entire list. But if they get to that last point and they say, right before that last point, they say or, now you only have to do one of those things. That's a huge difference. And or are very powerful distinctions. So when I tell people, and I educate them, and I call it a financial literacy on ramp when I bring, because my process is called the Shield Wolf Strongholds Highway. So when I put them on the financial literacy on ramp to the Shield Wolf Strongholds Highway, and I educate them on this, keep in mind, I just made their minds explode. Everything that they thought was true is not true anymore. But then I got to bring them back. It's not a this or that. Now that you learned this, do this first and then do that. Because what happens is when you take a risk, and everybody needs to take risks, because even if it's a mistake, you learn the most from your mistakes, right? But when you take a risk, if it doesn't work out, at the very least, if you have your money, and I'll go ahead and say what it is, just like, man, this ain't no infomercial, bro. Tell me what you're talking about. If you have your money in a properly structured, match-funded, index universal life policy. Remember, I didn't just say universal life. Understand, I didn't say variable universal life. Understand, I didn't just say index universal life. I said a max-funded index universal life policy. If you have your money in one of those properly structured things, you can do this, put it in there, and then when you need it, borrow against it, and then do whatever else you were trying to do. Because when you put it in there first, now that money is going to be earning an average of 8 to 11% tax-free for the rest of your life. And some people might say, man, 8, that's not a lot. 11, that's not a lot. It is a lot when you're not losing. What causes people, a lot of what's happening is every 3 to 4 years, if your principal is dropping 30 to 40%, that's what it makes it the way you feel like you got to hit a 30 ball, a 40 ball. That what makes you feel like you got to hit home runs every time. But if you're never losing your principal and you're only gaining, that's when you win.
Come on, that's what this shit is about, man. You know what I mean? Financial literacy, people. Yo, Deontay,
Yes,
let me ask you, Brody. Like for our people, like, I'm gonna just say from the hood, from the inner city community, you know what I'm saying, marginalized communities. What you think is gonna take for us to get our girls and guys in the right place to be able to think long-term wealth? You know what I mean? Because obviously, a lot of us live check to check, week to week. Like we out here struggling. You know what I mean? Rubbing nickels together to survive. You know what I mean? Like, what can we do to just bridge that gap?
So I'm gonna take a couple of different aspects from what we already spoke on, right? One of the main aspects that I'm gonna take from Randolph is that our minds are everything, right? Number two, I feel like the best place for us to be right now is the internet, right? The internet, you could be at home, you could be at the beach, you could be wherever you want to be physically. But mentally, we can all be on the same page and we can all be on the same game plan. The next thing that I'm going to just give y'all my game plan straightforward. Life is about popularity here in America. And we're going to start here, right? And if you believe that because the next person is doing it, it's going to enthuse you to do it, guess what? I'm about to make this as popular as possible.
Hello.
I'm about to make this the new twerk. I'm about to make this the best MMA fighting scene there can be possible.
Come on,
I'm going to get everybody that I'm connected to who really believes in a future for our kids and our kids' kids. We're going to make this popular, and I'm not going to stop until it happens.
That's right.
That's the only place I see us being, and for us to be comfortable, we all have to be in the same place. And I feel like first and foremost, that's mental. So my goal is to change the mentality of everybody, not just the youth, but change the mentality of everybody. And I don't even want to say change. I'm going to switch it to, I want to transition the mentality of our people. Yeah. And it's in some cases, it's a fast process. In other cases, it's a slow process. But I'm also, I believe in the tortoise and the hare. You You can run as fast as you want and win the race. You can go as slow as you want and be strategic and win the race. But the goal is to win the damn race.
Get to the finish line, man. Goals to get to the finish line, people. You dig?
The hair gets a bad rep. Go ahead.
I mean, the hair for me, the hair always gets a bad rep. But I'm gonna take up for the hair, and I can guarantee you from the experiences in my life, if I was not the hair, I would not have the experience that I have now. I have certain people in my life who allowed me to fuck up. Excuse my language. If you're not allowed to fuck up, you don't learn. You don't grow.
No.
When you're a child, when your mother tells you, "Don't touch that damn stove," guess what? Regardless if she say it or not, you're gonna go experience it for yourself.
Oh yeah, you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality.
You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn.
So, like I teach my little sisters, to the strongest point ever. I've made the mistakes already that I do not want you to make. I know where it's going to lead you. So I'm going to show you this water. And if you don't want to drink the water, I got a bridge for you. We're going to get over that water. I feel like that's the best thing I can do for our people. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the dumbest. I'm somewhere in between. But guess what? I got a plan for us all. And if I can lead by example, by bringing us together like I'm doing here in this moment now, I'm winning. I feel grateful in this moment, bro. Like, and you couldn't have asked me a better question. Like, we got to plan and strategize. And not only do we have to plan and strategize, but A, on the Gully tip, we got to make it popular. B, on the Randolph tip, we have to think about longevity. What's our plan to make it popular and make it make it last as long as possible? Excuse my word, y'all.
Oh yeah, and to your point, Deontay, I like the hair. Napoleon Hill said in the book Think and Grow Rich, starting at the bottom is overrated because you're so bogged down in work sometimes you cannot lift your head up to see the opportunities. I vibe with the hair. I like the tortoise too, and I vibe with the hair. So remember when you mentioned a little bit ago about the innocence of the child? Yeah. Here's my biggest fuck that innocence. The reason why these other cultures are ahead of us is because they start off with a pot. We don't set our kids up to start off with a pot. So they're not even mentally comfortable to even focus on the things that they need to focus on to create more everlasting wealth. We stuck on worrying about bills. We stuck on being worried about how to survive. We're not here to live, and that's what I want to get all of our mindsets on. We need to be here to live, not to survive. Life is not about surviving. Life is about living.
Yeah, we done that already. We did that already too long, way too long.
Too long, man. It's like how long we gonna sit here and talk about those 400 years? Those 400 years are turning into 5 and 6 now because we're just still talking about it.
It's the strivers versus the thrivers. What it is. Some people are just striving to live, and some people are thriving while they live. And to me, one of the main things you can teach children as soon as possible is the Internal Revenue Code. First lesson, it wasn't built for you. It was built for business owners. I can go to a business owner and say, "Hey, what's the business owner playbook?" And they'll look at me blank. The business owner playbook is the Internal Revenue Code. Whereas you taking a vacation that you can't write off, I'm taking a business retreat. Right. Completely tax deductible. Right. I'm looking at Internal Revenue Code 72E, 7702, and 101A. 72E says as long as something is considered a life policy, it grows tax deferred. 7702 says as long as something is considered a life policy, if you access it correctly, it's completely 100% tax free. And 101A says as long as something is considered a life policy, when you die, whatever you have in there left, it actually blossoms, it gets bigger and passes to your heirs tax-free. Because once again, it has to be considered a life policy. People come to me all the time. You gonna teach me how to invest? I say, no, I'm gonna teach you how to start a life policy the right way. They say, well, what about investment? I say, if we call it an investment, it's taxable. But if we call it a life policy, it's tax-free. Which one do you want?
Right. I mean, we're so used to it. You know what I mean? We're so used to getting something like, yo, man.
Let me piggyback off of that Randolph, and let me give y'all the hood terminology, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to save up for 4 years just to go into debt with a bank? Or do you want to save up for 4 years and borrow from your own money and be in debt with nobody? That's a no-brainer. I'm going with Mr. Love each and every time. Screw these banks. We need to start saving our own money and circulating our own money. That's huge too.
I'm glad you went ahead and used that term borrow, because based off us being consumers and growing up in consumers' family, we have a wrong connotation with what borrow actually means. If you look on your tax return, you have 3 ways that you're being taxed: passive income, active income, and portfolio income. Nowhere on there do you see borrowed income. Like if you borrow money to buy a car, you might pay taxes on the car, right? If you borrow money to buy a house, you might pay taxes on the land, but you did not get taxed to borrow that money. So what you do is when you actually are borrowing from a properly structured, max funded, index universal life policy, you're not actually borrowing your own money. Your money is still there. They're giving you their money and using your money as leverage. I call them twin babies. And who doesn't like twin babies? Imagine looking at $1 million on the screen, digital, and then $1 million in cash right there in your hands. Twin babies. So let's think about this. One of the reasons why I like max funded index universal life policies better than whole life. So I'm gonna let y'all know right now, I hate whole life. And if you think what I'm telling you can be done with whole life, it can be done slightly, but if you have a whole life policy, just call me. I can show you how over however many years that you've had it, that it only had an internal rate of return of less than 5%. So think about that. After all these years, you just had an internal rate of return of less than 5%. I'm not telling you that to make you feel bad, because what we can do is what's called a 1035 exchange. A lot of people heard of 1031 exchange with real estate, the way you can keep money moving through real estate without having to pay no taxes. You can also do what's called a 1035 exchange with your life policy. So what we do is, if you borrow from a whole life, they're going to charge you an interest rate, and you probably want to select the lowest interest rate possible. But if you borrow from a properly structured, max funded index universal life policy, whatever interest rate they charge you, they're going to automatically credit you that same amount to buy upside options. Ooh. And what are upside options? Upside options are you paying a little bit of money to have the option to buy a share at a select price no matter what happens. So out of every 10 years, on average, there are 7 good years and 3 bad years. That's the average, right? It's every, 3 to 4 decades, you might have 4 bad years, whatever. But on average, every 10 years, there are 7 good years and 3 bad years. What if it's one of the 7 good years where the stock market is up? Let's say you got an option to buy a share at $50 a share, and at the end of the year, that share is $150. What the insurance company is going to do is they're going to automatically buy that and then sell it immediately. You just made $100 per share, right? What happens if it's one of the 3 years that the stock market does bad? You just gonna let that option expire. It wasn't your money anyway. And it's money that you do not have, because the next question is, well, if I'm borrowing money, when do I have to pay it back? You don't have to pay it back until after you're dead. Jeez. Amazing.
Oh man, how could you lose? How could you lose?
You can't. You can't, man.
Come on now, man. This is beautiful, man, because that's another thing too within the community. You know, man. We don't take advantage of life insurance policies. You know what I'm saying? We look down on them, like, you know what I mean? And this is how, other cultures and races for centuries have thrived. You know what I mean? Like, not survived. This is how they've thrived. It's like Randolph said. And so, like, it's our duty to take advantage of these things, you know what I'm saying, along with the technology, because we talking about long-term wealth here, guys. We're talking about generational wealth, you know what I mean? We're talking about financial freedom, financial literacy, you know what I mean? And we talking about franchising, y'all. That's the reason why we really here, man. We talking about franchising, y'all. Like,
bring them around.
Come on now. You know what I mean? Like, they driving past McDonald's and Wendy's and all these franchises every day, and, y'all supporting them, and and feeding them. Y'all feeding them because, you know what I mean, y'all making them richer. You know what I mean? But why not open up your own franchise? Why not maybe even start your own company that you could be able to franchise? Hello. You know
and Deontay, you might have to either cut your volume down or put your headphones back in because we're getting feedback.
Oh yeah, the feedback, yeah.
Is that better?
Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go, yeah. So like I was telling y'all, man, listen, y'all drive past the McDonald's, the Wendy's, you know, whatever it might be, and y'all feeding them because they feeding y'all, but y'all feeding them because y'all making them richer. So why not start your own franchise? You know what I mean? Put some money up within the family, you know what I mean? With your coworkers, your friends, you know what I'm saying? Start your own franchise, right? Why not start your own business, LLC, build it up from the ground up, scale it up, and then franchise that, people. This is what we're talking about, man. I mean, we expanding the mind here.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and you know, the reason why, you know, I've connected with Deontay, he, you know, if you are an athlete or entertainer listening to this, you definitely need to reach out to Deontay because what he's been doing is he's been connecting these entertainers and athletes to franchises to where what they're doing is instead of giving you a big check at one time, I think everybody probably heard that story about Allen Iverson where he was only taking big bags of money and he had that one friend that told him to take this equity deal. And Allen Iverson will tell you to this day, that's the reason he still has money to support him and his family because of that one equity deal he took back when he had a name for himself. So to your point, even if you're not a celebrity or athlete, what we're able to do is we're able to take an existing standard operating procedure in a proven business model, and we're able to help people get in a franchise. Now, here's the benefit of being in a franchise. You don't have to know marketing because the franchisor already knows marketing. They're going to do it for you or teach it to you. You don't have to know business because the franchisor already knows business. They're going to do it for you or teach it to you. And here's the thing. Here's the statistics. It's great. I'm not going to lie. It's a good feeling to start something from the ground up, to take your bootstraps and the dirt in your fingernails and build it from nothing and have it be a viable business model that's making money. Hey, listen, that's a great feeling. But 100%, a percentage of something is better than 100% of nothing. The sad truth is over 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. The optimistic truth is over 85% of franchises succeed in the first 5 years. So you're buying into a team. Innovation is in the team. And here's the thing. Try to get some money, a brand new business from a bank. It's not going to happen. And if it does, it's very rare that it does. But try to get some money buying into an existing franchise that already has relationship with private equity groups. You go from signing this franchise deal to within a few months have $500,000+ ready to make moves. And all you have to do, and you know, every franchise has their own little way that they want compensation. Most franchises only want approximately a 6% royalty plus the 2% national or local marketing money. So out of 100%, you're giving 8% off of whatever your gross revenue, and you get to keep the rest. Now, you have some franchises that only want a flat rate, but if you think about it, if they only want a flat rate, are they really incentivized in helping you succeed? Or is the only way they're going to make more money by bringing on new franchisees? Meaning that they don't care if you are going from 100,000 to $1 million, and from $1 million to 2, and 2 to 4.
About scaling up. It's about scaling up. That's it, man. Exactly. Progress. You know what I mean? Now that's beautiful. That's beautiful, bro. Because we need to do this. You know, we all in whatever communities we live in. We see franchises being built, you know what I mean, all the time. You know, it's not usually us that's taking advantage of it or reaping the rewards from it, you know what I mean, within our own community at that, you know what I mean? So this is part of changing that mentality and the mindset, guys and girls, you know what I'm saying? Let's become the sellers, not the customers, you know what I'm saying? Let's become the owners, you know what I'm saying? Let's do our due diligence to no matter what it is, let's own our IP, let's own our data. You know what I'm saying? Let's have some equity. You know what I mean? This is what this is about. You know what I mean? The cash grabs was good while it lasted. This is not what this is about right now. You know what I'm saying? We about long term. We ain't about the quick fix. You know what I'm saying? We about feeding ourselves, our families and generations to come, brothers and sisters. This is what we about. You know what I mean? This is the vibe. You know what I mean? And come join us. Come join us. You know what I mean? And that's the franchise consulting company, just in case you ain't heard. You wanna get them the info on that and all that, bro?
Absolutely. So what me and Deontay, good friend of mine, Christopher Taylor, a lot of people at the Great American Franchise Expo and the Franchise Consulting Company, as well as Tuskegee, Selma, a consortment of black mayors throughout the United States. We're coming together, and we are under the helm of the African American Franchise Council, and we're about to do some big things. And I definitely want to give Deontay an opportunity to talk about what he's been experiencing in his part of the country and how we're changing it.
Appreciate that. So, growing up, long story short, we don't get to see a business at all. We don't get to see the back end of it. The only thing we know to do is to go spend money.
That's it.
When I was blessed with this opportunity by Mr. Randolph to rub the shoulders with his colleagues that he's privy to every day, I thought to myself, yo, this is a gold rush of knowledge. How the hell can I get this to my people? And it was just a simple conversation of, hey, listen, I have all of these different networks in place. You guys are the final piece of my puzzle. I'm not even asking you, I'm telling you. We're about to get together. We're going to start off in one place, leading by example. We're going to take over the nation, and we're going to make sure all of our communities are getting the funding that they need to start businesses, to expand businesses, to franchise their businesses. We're going to make sure that all of our political offices are helping our communities truly, and not just talking about it just to get elected or just to get a vote. And then we're also, I'm definitely big shout out to Mr. Nick. We are full court pressing any and all banks to deal with our people as far as funding goes, because we all know there is a curve when it comes to who is established funding for business ventures and who is not established that funding. So we're on a huge push. I want to give thanks to the whole team, because if it wasn't for the whole team and putting each piece of the puzzle together, we wouldn't be where we are now. And I honestly feel like we're moving way faster than what I could have ever imagined. And for me, that's thanks to my buddy Chris T and to Mr. Randolph here. They flooded me with the knowledge that I need to be able to connect to the people that I'm connected to, who already believe in me. And it's like now I have something that I for sure can lead by example with. And I'm super grateful for that opportunity, man. Because at the end of the day, money don't mean nothing to me either. It's just a tool, right? So regardless if a dollar comes from this podcast or not, I feel like if anybody listens to this podcast, my doors are open, Mr. Randolph's doors are open, and Gully's doors are open. We're here to feed as much knowledge as possible. That's right. We got to keep feeding each other. If we don't feed each other the knowledge, if we don't pick up books, and in fact, I'm not even forcing anybody to pick up a book. I done read a lot of books. Come get the knowledge from me. We can sit down, we can smoke a blunt, we can have a drink, whatever you want to do, come get the knowledge from me.
Yeah.
We eliminating all the excuses, and we're creating options. We are 3 valuable options here on this platform. Gully, thank you for the platform to be able to share that with people. Come get this knowledge. I'm going to keep screaming that. Come get it.
Come on now. Yeah, man. Like, teamwork is dream work. You know what I mean? We here for you. You know what I mean? We here for all of y'all. You know what I mean? Like, come join the tribe, because it's a tribe vibe. You know what I mean? And we work better together than alone. You dig? That's just for real. You know what I mean? We don't divide and conquer over here, man. We putting it together. And like we said, man, we connecting these dots, bridging these gaps. You know what I mean? I want to say that, I'm glad that we on this, we having this talk. You know what I mean? It's much needed. You know what I mean? Because every market, like I'm in the tech space, it's hard to get funded in this tech space as a Black entrepreneur. I know people that's in the art space, it's hard to get funded. So it's like, that's another key component to everything, right? Because it's all a process. And it's like, once you start your LLC and you got a good idea and you got a good team and, you got some good pieces to the puzzle, it's still other pieces there that's needed to be put in place. You know what I mean? Not necessarily by yourself, by other people. You know what I mean? About people coming together and collaborating. You know what I mean? And especially with people coming together and helping as far as the funding. So yeah, like those banks, man. Like, you know, hopefully they see they see the curve is real, like you just said, bro. Curve is real.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's part of that free knowledge that we're giving away right now. And this is what Mr. Randolph does. He expresses nothing but knowledge to me, right? And this is one of the things that made the most sense. Just on that subject right there. Why would I waste time presenting myself to a bank that I know for sure does not want to give me money versus going to a private investment bank where all they do is invest in business?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right. So we have no idea about those investment places, so we don't know to go reach out to them, right? But now we have somebody like Mr. Randolph who can provide that type of knowledge, and you can go off and do what you want to do with it.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of the private equity companies that we have relationships with, they only invest in certain types of businesses in certain areas. So as soon as we know exactly what type of business and what area you're in, we just took 150 private equity and probably distilled it down to maybe 10. And then out of that 10, then we can go based off of their criteria. So for example, let's say it's a company, you've been successful for at least 1 to 3 years and you want to expand. But once again, how can you get access to money when they keep redlining you when it comes to getting hold of this money? What you can do is you can reach out to somebody like myself and you can turn your business into a franchise. And you know, it takes about 3 to 4 months. What we're going to do is we're going to come up with what's called a franchise disclosure document, a FDD. We're also going to help you create your operating agreements and all of that good stuff. But here's the beautiful thing. Once we turn your business into a franchise, then that's when all of that money comes in. So now you're able to expand without the liability with using other people's money. How do you do that? So first and foremost, listen, I know how it is to be a small business owner, right? Chances are when you look at your taxes for the past 3 years, according to your paperwork, you ain't made a dime. People don't know why you are still in business because according to this, you don't make no money. But what we're able to do, because here's the thing, in order for us to put together this franchise disclosure document, we have to be able to say how much money that you typically make. And if on paper you're not making any money, then we're going to say you make $0. Who's going to buy into that franchise? What we're able to do is we're able to retroactively, because remember, the government allows you to be able to go back 3 years to make changes. So if we're switching our mindset, we're able to retroactively go back and change your tax returns to show profits. Now, I'm not telling you you're not doing anything illegitimate. Now you have new knowledge. You're going to go back with that new knowledge, with that new professional, and change it to where instead of your businesses losing money for the past 3 years, it was making money for the past 3 years. Then once we convert you to a franchise, what we do is we go to these people and we say, hey, for at least, it's anywhere from 50,000 plus. For $50,000, you can buy my franchise. And then plus 50,000 plus, maybe a couple 100,000 to do build out and buy equipment and all that stuff. Guess what? You can set it up to where they're only buying your equipment. You can set it up to where they're only dealing with your vendors. You can set it up to where they're doing your standard operating procedure because that's your operating agreement. So now you just expanded your brand by paying no money and no liability. Because here's the thing. If you were trying to expand by yourself, you got to deal with hiring new people, firing new people, potential harassment claims, all types of stuff. If you are the franchisor, that's their liability. So you're using their money to build your brand. They're taking on the liability, and then we still make sure that your name is listed as an additional insured on their insurance just in case something happens. So that's how a small business is able to go from one location to hundreds of locations, using none of their money with little to no liability. It's a beautiful thing.
And that's business, man. Because you're not supposed to be using your own money, guys and girls. You know what I mean? Well, you got to start. You might have to start off like that, but that's not you don't want to keep it going like that. You know what I mean? You want to be able to transition.
Retouching on forget the innocence. Let's keep it 100. From what Mr. Randolph just said was very valuable. We are all taught to hit licks, right? So when it comes down to taxes, we're taught to make it look like we're not making anything just so that we can get a damn tax return. In reality, that's not what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
In reality, we're supposed to be able to show that we are a great, outstanding business that is bringing in money. And that's another way that we are denied funding, because we're unable to show that we're a functioning business. You could be a functioning business and making millions, but when it comes to tax returns, because of what you want to make within the next month or so, when they're sending out those checks, you want that to be a little bigger than your long term. So that's I gotta keep it 100% real. I'm done with the innocence. There is no innocence. Innocence turns into ignorance.
That's it.
Right? So the longer we stay ignorant, the longer we stay behind.
And here's the thing. If you really want to know how ignorant you are, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know. This is how you can find out, right? Text no tax 24 to, and I know this is an international show, Gully. Congratulations. So I'm going to give the country code too. Text no tax 24 to +1 904 822 4262. That's no tax 24 NOTAX 24. No spaces, no dashes to +1 904 822 4262. Because here's the thing. Whenever you are putting in where you want to go in a GPS, I always ask people this. When you want to go somewhere, what's the first piece of information that goes in the GPS? And most people say the location, the address where you're trying to go. No, the first piece of information that goes into that GPS is where you at. If you text that no tax 24 to +1 904 822 4262, I will show you exactly where you at. You will see how ignorant you are. Because listen to the thing, ignorant isn't a bad word, but you have to be aware of how ignorant. Some people don't know how dumb they are, right? I'd rather you be aware of where you are ignorant wise. So once we start moving forward, because you're going to get that spot in your mind where you think you haven't done anything. And then we're going to pull out that scorecard, because that's what I'm going to send to you, a scorecard. We're going to pull out that scorecard from when you first met me to now, and you will see how you have dramatically increased. You know what I mean? A fish has no idea what water is.
Right.
Because they're
just in it. Just in it. Yeah, man. Like, yeah, man.
Like, you can't see the forest for the trees. So that's why you need a coach. When you see people get athletes accept awards, who the first and main person they thinking? They coach. Because you need somebody looking from the outside in to tell you what water is, and then explain to you, not only have you been living in water your entire life, this is how to swim.
Right. No, that's a fact, man. And listen, everybody out there, man, we all need the right people in our life, whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor, you know what I mean, whether it's just good brothers like us on the line here that be able to still sharpen still, okay? Because you can't assess yourself, like, you know what I mean? You can't you can't grade yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't, I mean, you can teach yourself, but then who's to say that you learned the lesson yourself? Like, come on. So it's like, at the end of the day, man, we got to start taking things a lot more serious than we have in the past. You know what I mean? We're in a new era in the world right now, and we got to move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? We got to adjust. You know what I mean? We got to transit. We got to make this transition, you know what I mean? Which is usually a smooth transition. You know what I mean? Without thinking too much or too hard into it. You know what I mean? Because the mindset is everything. And our mindset, we kind of been fucking ourselves for time now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like what you just said, man. It's like that wake up moment. You know what I mean? Because we all got to have that wake up moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, all three of us had a wake up moment, because we all was once ignorant, and however way we was ignorant, and you know, we had to let the light shine on us, or somebody tell us, like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? For us to wake up and be like, damn, you know what? Something click. Like, okay, we're going like this moving forward. You know what I'm saying? So we all need that wake up moment, because half the time we think we not doing nothing wrong. Like, half the time we so much products of our environment that it's like, man, listen, this is what the fuck it is. This is second nature. What am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying? But like, it take a person outside of your normal environment or habitat to be like, oh wait, hold on, bro. Now I'm not gonna say it's wrong, but you could have took this route. You know what I mean? Or you could have possibly did it this way. Like, you know what I mean? Give you some options, man. You know what I mean? Shit, man. Could we developing these options for y'all motherfuckers, man?
Oh, yes,
like,
sir.
Come on, man.
Let me add.
Go ahead.
My bad. To add to that, there's a knowledge key right here. The word ignorant. Please don't be ashamed of it. The word ignorant simply means to not know. Be accountable for being ignorant in certain situations. I'm accountable for being ignorant in the fiat world and in the Web3 world. But guess what? I got my two buddies here to feed me with knowledge so that I'm not ignorant anymore. Don't be afraid of the word ignorance.
Oh yeah, and know this: the more you know, the more you know, the more you don't know. Like as soon as you learn a new thing, you just found out there's something else you didn't know. So it's never going to stop. It's always going to be you're learning new things. And here's the thing: all truths are parallel. I truly believe this. When my sister was 16, she got a car. Like a lot of people, they weren't able to get their first car at 16, right? But she got a car at 16. Now, we still grew up in a low middle class family, so it wasn't the best car. It was an ugly, early 1990s. I think it might have been a 1989 Dodge Shadow. I've never seen this car a day in my life. And my sister, she one of the people that wear her heart on her face. Like, she couldn't even hide how disgusted she was, even though she got a car at 16, right? I went from never seeing that car a day in my life to now, after I saw her in that car, I started seeing it every day. Almost once a week, I would see that Dodge Shadow. And what that told me is, once you know something exists, once you learn it exists, it's everywhere. It's people like Gully everywhere that's strong in this web. It's people like Beyonce that's mastered the power of relationship and communication. It's people like me that know how to make money, make babies. If you can impregnate $100 bill, would you not? Right? Now that you know we exist, we are everywhere. Now, that being said, I remember growing up in the, like I said, I grew up in a low middle class neighborhood, right? Have y'all ever seen a Chrysler 300?
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I remember when the Chrysler 300 first came out. I mean, it's a beautiful car, dog. Great interior. And whenever the cars used to ride around, me and my friends, we would stop what we were doing and we would look at it and be like, look at that car. It looks just like a Bentley. It looks just like a Bentley, right? Until one day when I grew up, I'm walking in a parking lot, and not only did I see a Chrysler 300 and a Bentley parked right next to each other, they were both the same color, and they were both back then. And it was at that very moment I said, a Chrysler 300 looks nothing like a Bentley. Now, Gully knows how to break down Web3 like nobody. Beyonce know how to tell you how to build instant rapport with people in a moment. And even in loud music, Beyonce is building instant rapport with people. I can tell you how to make this money do backflips and turn currency into do what it is. But here's the thing. There are a few Bentleys out there. You see what I'm saying? There are a few Bentleys. If you are vibing with anything that Beyonce or Gully says on this podcast, what I'm saying, don't hesitate. Knowledge is only potential power. Applied knowledge is power. And yes, the Chrysler 300 is a good car. It's beautiful. It can get you from A to B. But wouldn't you rather be in a Bentley? I think you would.
Because it look good until you right up next to that Bentley. Then then you want to go home. Then you want to run
Not
home.
until you put it right next to it. Can you tell the difference?
Not right next to it. Yo, man, this is crazy, man. Yo, man, I love chopping up with my brothers, man. This is just the first of one. This is the first of many to come. You dig what I'm saying? This is part one. I mean, we're gonna be back at y'all. Before we get out of here, brothers, is any advice for the young guys and girls? You know what I mean? That's out there trying to be an entrepreneur.
Beyonce?
My best advice is to stay open. Stay open. Stay open like a book. No, let me change that. Stay open like a sponge. Soak up as much as possible because you're not going nowhere without knowledge.
Soak up that game.
Like you either gonna find yourself paying for it or you're gonna find yourself learning it. Learn it so you don't have to pay for it later.
Hello, but you're gonna have to circle back anyway. You know what I mean? Hold on, I'm not to cut you off, bro, but I want to piggyback on something Beyonce said too, because accountability, people. Listen, man, this word, yo, hold on, like, because mindset, my mentality. Without accountability, you can't even change your mindset or your mentality, man. Because like we just said a little earlier, like the wake up moment is when you got to be able to take accountability and own up for your actions, your failures, your mistakes, whatever it is. Get past it. You know what I'm saying? Work past it, and I mean, do your best to get better. You know what I mean? So accountability is key too.
Absolutely, definitely, because you got to find out. It's easy to blame everybody else for something going wrong, right? But the power comes in when you can find what you could have done better. And to that question, how I think people can build up in the entrepreneurship and business is realize that innovation is in the team. Innovation is in the team. What traditional advice would tell you is whatever you bad at, keep working on it. I say whatever you good at, keep working on it and find somebody who's good at what you bad at, and that's your new teammate. You know what I'm saying? Don't be stuck on what you can't do.
That's a fact.
Find somebody who can do it for you.
Yeah.
And then focus on what you good at naturally. And then everything else will work. Because once again, a percentage of something is better than 100% of nothing. And if you keep trying to do everything by yourself, you're going to be stuck.
And the more you ignorant and stay ignorant in that ignorant state of mind, you're going to accept that 100% of zero donut. Like, you're going to accept it and be happy with it. You know what I mean? I remember when people was laughing at Jay-Z, 1% of the ball club, 1%. Yo. 1% nigga dealing with billions, he talking about when they complain about 1%, but like, and then what y'all motherfuckers doing? Where y'all percentage at? Like,
where's that?
Like, y'all making fun of his 1%. So man, mentality is key. Mentality is everything, man. Yo, before we get out of here, what's y'all social medias and stuff so they can tap in with y'all?
I only have Instagram. Mine is at ActiveDSay. It's spelled just like it sounds. ActiveDSay. DSay is DSAY. Reach me there. Beat me there.
And all you got to do for me is go to shieldwolfstrong.com/link in bio. That's SHIELDWOLFSTRONG.com/LINKINBIO. And you'll see all my social media. That's how you can get to me.
That's right, just like that. Y'all heard it. And I gotta plug some more things for y'all, man, because my guy Randolph, man, he got a bunch of shit going on, man. We gotta shout out that book. Where can they get that book? The Miracle Money Vehicle, How to Make Money Baby. Because we making money babies, baby.
Yeah,
we making real babies, but we making money babies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
that same number I told you, that +1 904 822 just put in Miracle 24. No spaces, no dashes. MIRACLE 24. No spaces, no dashes. And I'll go ahead and send you that book for just the cost of shipping and handling. It's a $50 book, but I'll send it to you for just the cost of shipping and handling. It's worth more than $50, but I want you to get it in your hands.
That's love. That's love.
Just for the Gully for the Gully podcast, put that in, and I'll give it to you for just the cost of shipping and handling. Just because y'all listen.
On y'all screen. Right down there on y'all screen. And make sure y'all check out the Entrepreneurs podcast as well. Where can they check that out, bro?
Go to entrepreneurs.com, ENTREPRENUDIST.com. It's the Entrepreneurs podcast, the place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. Because remember, what I said is once you know something exists, then it works. And remember, all truths are parallel. Even if we're talking about an industry or a company or a service that you think has nothing to do with your industry, company or service, what's workable in one facet is workable in another. So you can always learn no matter what the industry is.
That's a fact. Be open and willing to learn, receptive, you know what I mean? Be a sponge, like my guy Deontay said, you know what I mean? And this is what we do. We for you, you know what I mean? We don't hate over here. We don't compete. We collaborate, baby. You know what I mean? So for next time, you know what I mean? That's my guy Randolph Love. That's my guy Deontay. Listen, man, I'm G from the Blockchain Podcast. You know, we all across the world, man. Right now, touching and we touching people. We kissing babies, man. We hugging women, man. That's what we do, man. We getting the word out there. We spreading the word.
Absolutely.
Long-term wealth. Go get your franchise up, man. Go see what's going on, man. Until next time, man. We love you guys and girls. Peace.
The Blockchain Show.
Get it.
New bank.